We initiate the protocol of biological memory by destroying the modern delusion that confidence is a mental construct. It is not. Confidence is a biological secretion. The soft man stands in front of a mirror, reciting affirmations, telling himself, "I am a winner, I am worthy," while his cortisol levels are sky high and his posture is collapsing under the weight of gravity. His brain knows he is lying. The brain is a survival engine, not a vibe checker. It demands evidence. It scans the history of the organism's physical reality and asks, have we survived stress? Have we hunted? Have we killed? Have we endured? If the answer is no, we have sat in a chair for 10 years. The brain produces anxiety to keep you safe and small. The architect understands that to overwrite the software of the mind, you must break the hardware of the body. You cannot think your way into a state of, I can do anything. You must exhaust your way into it. This is the concept of somatic imprinting. We are going to bypass the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that worries and doubts, and speak directly to the amygdala and the basal ganglia. We are going to etch the memory of success into your nervous system using the only ink the body respects: pain, lactate, and adrenaline. We must first analyze the central governor theory. Your brain is wired to stop you at 40% of your actual capacity. This is an evolutionary safety switch designed to prevent you from running yourself to death while hunting an antelope. When you feel tired, when your lungs burn and your legs shake, you are not out of fuel. You are simply hitting the first firewall. The governor is sending pain signals to force you to stop so it can hoard energy for a hypothetical emergency. The soft man feels this pain and interprets it as the limit. He stops. He reinforces the neural pathway that says, when it hurts, I quit. He is training his biology to be a coward. The architect pushes past the 40%. He pushes into the red zone. When you force the body to continue moving despite the screaming signals of the governor, you create a system shock. The brain realizes the governor has failed. It realizes you are not stopping, so it is forced to unlock the reserve tanks. It releases a flood of endorphins, anandamide, and dopamine to numb the pain. This is the second wind. But it is more than just energy. It is a state of flow. In this state, you are rewriting the governor's settings. You are teaching the brain that the limit was a lie. You are expanding the zone of tolerance. Every time you break a physical plateau, you are not just building muscle. You are physically restructuring the architecture of your self-belief. You are creating a reference experience that says, I thought I would die, but I didn't. I kept going. This reference experience becomes a weapon you can deploy in business, in relationships, and in war. Let us dig deeper into the neurochemistry of the hunt. Our ancestors were persistence hunters. We did not outrun the cheetah. We outlasted it. We ran for hours in the heat until the prey collapsed from heat stroke. Our biology is designed to reward persistence through suffering. When you engage in high-intensity, long-duration physical exertion, you trigger the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. This is miracle-grow for the brain. It increases neuroplasticity. It allows you to learn faster and adapt quicker. But more importantly, it is linked to the winner effect. When you finish a workout that completely emptied your tank, your testosterone spikes and your cortisol stabilizes. You feel a sense of post-battle clarity. This is the biological signature of the alpha. The alpha is not the loudest in the room. The alpha is the one with the highest tolerance for distress. By voluntarily subjecting yourself to physical micro-traumas, heavy iron, sprinting until you vomit, cold exposure, you are inoculating yourself against the stress of the world. A man who has just squatted 400 pounds does not panic when he gets a rude email. The nervous system registers the email as a low-level threat compared to the bar that almost crushed his spine. You are recalibrating your threat detection system. You are making the difficulties of modern life feel like a joke because you have voluntarily visited hell in the gym and walked out alive. We must also discuss the concept of visceral validation. The modern world is abstract. You tap buttons on a screen. You send digital signals. You rarely see the physical fruit of your labor. This creates a reality gap. The brain dissociates. It feels useless. Physical exhaustion bridges this gap. When you run 10 miles, the distance is real. The pain is real. The sweat is real. The finish line is real. There is no ambiguity. You cannot fake a deadlift. You either lift it or you don't. This absolute binary truth is the antidote to the imposter syndrome of the digital age. When you conquer the weights, you are banking undeniable proof of your competence. You are stacking cookie jar moments, as Goggins calls them. When you're in a negotiation and you feel fear, you reach into the mental jar, pull out the memory of that last mile, that last rep. You remind your biology, I am the savage who survived that. This meeting is nothing. You are anchoring your identity to your physical resilience. This is why every high-performing CEO, every special forces operator, every elite entity respects physical fitness. It is not about vanity. It is about sanity maintenance. It is about reminding the animal inside you that it is still dangerous. The ego death via exertion is another critical component. We all carry a civilian ego, the part of us that wants comfort, validation, and safety. This ego is a liability. It is the voice that says, it's too cold, I'm too tired, I'll do it tomorrow. You cannot negotiate with this ego. You must kill it. Physical exhaustion is the executioner. There is a specific point in a grueling workout, the breaking point, where the ego dissolves. It is simply too expensive for the brain to maintain the social mask when it is trying to survive oxygen deprivation. The pretense drops, the excuses vanish, you are reduced to your rawest essence. In that moment of total depletion, you meet your true self. If you keep going, you birth the alter ego. The alter ego is the entity that thrives in the dark. It is the shadow self that enjoys the pain. By repeatedly visiting this place of near-death exertion, you strengthen the alter ego. You make it accessible on command. When the business crisis hits, you do not react as the scared civilian. You switch into the alter ego that you forged in the sweat and the blood. You trigger the biological memory of survival. The body remembers, we have been here before. We know what to do. We attack. We must also analyze the dopaminergic resynthesis. Modern society has hijacked your dopamine reward system with cheap thrills, sugar, porn, social media, video games. This creates dopamine resistance. You feel numb, you lack drive, you are biologically depressed because your receptors are fried. Physical exhaustion is the hard reset. To get the dopamine hit from a run, you have to work for it. You have to pay the price in advance. This restores the natural effort-reward pathway. It heals the soul. It teaches the brain that good things come after suffering. This is the fundamental law of success. If your brain expects a reward without effort, you are destined for poverty. If your brain is wired to expect the reward only after extreme effort, you become unstoppable. You become addicted to the struggle because you know the high that follows is the only high worth having. You stop looking for shortcuts. You start looking for the steepest path because you know that is where the growth is. You are reversing the instant gratification virus. You are becoming a creature of delayed gratification. This is the hallmark of long-term thinking. This is how you build empires. You endure the lean years like you endure the long run, knowing the endorphins are waiting at the finish line. Finally, in this foundational phase, we must understand the posture of the victor. Biology is a two-way street. Your mind shapes your body, but your body also shapes your mind. This is embodied cognition. When you are physically weak, your shoulders slump, your head drops, your breathing is shallow. This posture signals defeat to your own brain, which then lowers testosterone and raises cortisol, creating a feedback loop of loserdom. When you train to failure, when you build a back of steel and legs of oak, you physically take up space. You stand taller, not because you are trying to, but because your musculature demands it. You breathe deeper. This power pose is not a trick. It is your new anatomical reality. Your brain reads this posture and concludes, I am big, I am strong, I am formidable. It adjusts your hormonal profile to match the chassis you have built. You walk into a room and people feel your presence before you speak. This is biological charisma. It is the subcommunication of violence controlled by discipline. It signals to other primates that you are a resource to be allied with or a threat to be avoided. You cannot fake this energy. It must be earned in the iron cathedral. It must be paid for in the currency of exhaustion. The memory of every rep, every drop of sweat is stored in your fascia, in your cells. You are walking around with a loaded weapon, the absolute certainty that you can handle physical reality. And if you can handle the reality of a 500-pound deadlift, the reality of a spreadsheet or a sales call becomes weightless. You have anchored the state of I can into the very marrow of your bones. We now descend into the operational core of the biological memory protocol. Phase 1 was about understanding the mechanism. Phase 2 is about the weaponization of that mechanism to dominate the hierarchy of the real world. We must understand that the brain has a specific region called the anterior cingulate cortex, ACC. This is the hardware of willpower. Scientists have proven that this area physically shrinks in obese people and people who seek comfort. It physically grows in people who do things they do not want to do. Every time you look at the cold plunge, hate the idea, and get in anyway, you're adding neural tissue to the ACC. Every time you are at rep 9, your lungs are burning, and you force out rep 10, you are hypertrophying your willpower. The soft man thinks willpower is a mood. The architect knows willpower is a muscle that must be trained to failure just like a bicep. If you do not train the ACC, you will will be mentally weak. And a man who is mentally weak cannot hold the frame in a high-stakes negotiation. He cannot hold the line during a market crash, and he cannot lead a team through the valley of death. You are building the callus of the mind. Just as a carpenter's hands become hard so he can work without pain, your mind must become calloused so you can operate in high-stress environments without emotional bleeding. We must then bridge the gap between kinetic tension and psychological tension. The sensation of holding a heavy barbell in a static hold is identical to the sensation of holding an awkward silence in a boardroom. It is the ability to endure pressure without collapsing. When you train your nervous system to handle physical load, you are essentially increasing your voltage capacity. Most people blow a fuse when life hits them with 110 volts of stress. You are upgrading your wiring to handle 220, 440, 1000 volts. When the crisis hits your business and your partners are panicking, blowing fuses, you remain calm. Why? Because you have been under heavier loads physically. Your body recognizes the stress signal but interprets it as manageable load. This is the transfer of competence. The discipline required to wake up at 4 a.m. and run in the rain is the exact same discipline required to finish the tedious spreadsheet or make the 100th cold call. There is no such thing as gym discipline versus work discipline. There is only discipline. It is a single reservoir. If you leak discipline in your diet, you will leak discipline in your finances. If you cheat on the last rep, you will cheat on your taxes or your wife. The architect treats the physical training as the calibration chamber for his entire moral and ethical structure. You build integrity in the dark so you can display it in the light. Let us analyze the hormonal sovereignty essential for high performance. We live in an estrogenic, cortisol-soaked society. The food is processed, the air is plastic, the lifestyle is sedentary. This creates a biology of fear and passivity. To win, you must chemically engineer yourself into a predator. High-intensity physical exhaustion triggers the survival cascade. When you sprint, your body thinks you are hunting or being hunted. It upregulates testosterone and growth hormone to repair the damage and prepare for the next battle. Testosterone is not just a sex hormone, it is the effort hormone. It makes hard work feel good. It reduces the fear of risk. It increases the desire for competition. By training intensely, you are naturally doping your own blood supply with the chemicals of success. You are fighting the sedentary toxicity. The soft man feels depressed because his chemistry is stagnant. The architect solves his problems by moving his blood. You cannot be mentally depressed when you are physically thriving. The runner's high, endocannabinoids, and the post-lift clarity are not luxuries. They are state management tools. You do not go into a strategy meeting with brain fog. You go in with a brain bathed in BDNF and dopamine. You use the workout to sharpen the knife before you cut the deal. We must also discuss the concept of aggressive recovery and the sleep weapon. The soft man sees sleep as a weakness, or he stays up late watching Netflix, engaging in revenge bedtime procrastination. The architect views sleep as the construction phase. You tear the muscle down in the gym and the business during the day. You build the empire at night. If you are not sleeping 7 to 8 hours, you are not a martyr. You are inefficient. Sleep deprivation mimics being drunk. You would not come to work drunk, yet you come to work on 4 hours of sleep and expect to perform. The physical exhaustion protocol forces deep sleep. When you have truly emptied the tank physically, the body knocks you out. It forces a reboot. This deep, restorative sleep cleans the amyloid plaques from the brain, neurotoxins. It processes the trauma of the day. It solidifies the biological memory of the skills you learned. You eat to fuel the machine, not to entertain the tongue. You hydrate to conduct electricity in your nerves. You treat your body like a multi-million-dollar racehorse. You would not put sugar in a Ferrari. You do not put garbage in the architect. Every meal is a tactical decision. Does this make me more lethal, or does this make me slow? The physical standard demands a nutritional standard, which enforces a lifestyle standard. Now we integrate the voluntary hardship as a lifestyle filter. You must intentionally introduce friction into your life. Take the stairs. Park far away. Carry the groceries in one trip. Turn the shower to cold at the end. Why? To kill the comfort demon. The moment you start seeking comfort, you start dying. Entropy takes over. By choosing the hard path in small physical things, you are priming the brain for the hard path in big things. This is the Stoic algorithm. If you are used to the shock of cold water, the shock of a market downturn is less jarring. You have inoculated yourself against surprise. You are practicing anti-fragility. Nassim Taleb defines anti-fragile as things that gain from disorder. Your body is anti-fragile. You stress it, it grows. Your mind mind must be the same. You want the stress. You want the challenge. You look at a difficult project and your biological response is not ugh, but good, because you know the difficulty is the forge. This is the Goggins effect applied to capitalism. You stay hard not for the Instagram post, but for the internal credibility. You know that you are the type of man who does not quit. This self-knowledge is the ultimate armor. We must also explore the void of silence found in extreme exertion. There is a moment in a long run or a heavy set where the internal dialogue shuts up, the doubts vanish, the to-do list vanishes. There is only breath and pain. In this void, you find the truth. Many architects report their best business ideas come during the hardest part of their workout. Why? Because the prefrontal noise is silenced. The intuitive, primal brain takes over. You strip away the bullshit. You realize that the problem you were worrying about is simple. You realize the partner you were trusting is a snake. The sweat acts as a truth serum. You cannot lie to yourself when your heart rate is 180. You use this time to audit your life. You use the pain to burn off the fog. You come back from the run, not just physically tired, but mentally crystallized. You have solved the puzzle because you stopped thinking and started being. Finally, the protocol of the sovereign biological entity. The goal is not to be a bodybuilder or a marathon runner. The goal is to be a dangerous gentleman, a man who is capable of violence but chooses peace, a man who has the energy to work 14 hours if needed, the strength to protect his family, and the mental fortitude to lead his tribe. The biological memory of success is simply the undeniable knowledge that you are a master of your own vessel. If you can command your body to do things it hates, you can command the market. If you can enslave your impulses, you can enslave your reality. You walk different, you talk different, you vibrate at a different frequency. People feel it. They move out of your way. Opportunities gravitate toward the source of power. Money follows energy. If you are low energy, you will be low income. If you are nuclear energy, you will be wealthy. The gym, the track, the mat. These are not hobbies. They are the power plants where you generate the voltage required to light up the world. You do not exercise to look good. You exercise to acquire the capacity for conquest. So here is the directive. Kill the soft man. He is the one whispering that you can skip today. He is the one saying it's okay to be average. He is the enemy within. Drag him into the squat rack and bury him under the weight. Drown him in the cold water. Outrun him on the trail. Prove to your biology every single day that you are the captain of the ship. Secure the perimeter of your mind by fortifying the walls of your body. When the body remembers that it is unconquerable, the mind believes that it is limitless. And when the mind believes it is limitless, the bank account has no choice but to reflect that reality. The architecture is complete. Now go and build.